I was thinking of how important it is to be innocent, to have an innocent mind. Experiences are inevitable, perhaps necessary. Life is a series of experiences, but the mind need not be burned with its own accumulative demands. It can wipe off each experience and keep itself innocent, unburdened. This is important, otherwise the mind can never be fresh, alert, and pliable. How to keep the mind pliable is not the problem. The how is the search for a method, and a method can never make the mind innocent. It can make it methodical, but never innocent, creative. It is always difficult to keep simple and clear. The world worships success. The bigger, the better. The greater the audience, the greater the speaker. The colossal superbuildings, cars, airplanes, and people. Simplicity is lost. The successful people are not the ones who are building a new world. To be a real revolutionary requires a complete change of heart and mind. And how few want to free themselves. One cuts the surface roots, but to cut the deep-feeding roots of mediocrity and success needs something more than words, methods, or compulsions. There seem to be few, and they are the real builders. The rest labor in vain. One is everlastingly comparing oneself with another, with what one is, with what one should be, with someone more fortunate. This comparison kills. Comparison is degrading. It perverts one's outlook. And on comparison one is brought up. Our education is based on it, and so is our culture. So there is everlasting struggle to be something other than what one is. The understanding of what one is uncovers creativity, but comparison breeds competitiveness, ruthlessness, and ambition, which we think bring about progress. Progress has only led so far to more ruthless wars and misery than the world has ever known. To bring up children without comparison is true education. It is strange to be talking about what seems so unnecessary. The thing that matters is here, and you are there. The real things are always alike, so unnecessary to talk about. And in the very act of talking, something happens to pervert it, spoil it. There are so many things that are said apart from the real thing. The urge to fulfill, which burns so many people in small or big ways, can be satisfied in some way or the other. And with satisfaction, the deeper things fade away. Fulfillment of desire is such a small affair, however pleasant. With its fulfillment, as it keeps on satisfying itself, boredom sets in and the real thing fades away. It is the real thing that has to remain, and it does if there is no thought of fulfillment, but just seeing things as they are. We are very seldom alone, always with people, with thoughts that crowd in, hopes that have not been fulfilled or are going to be. To be alone is essential for one to be uninfluenced, for something uncontaminated to take place. There seems to be no time for this aloneness. There are too many things to do, too many responsibilities. To learn to be quiet, shutting oneself in one's room to give the mind a rest, becomes a necessity. Love is part of this aloneness. To be simple, clear, and inwardly quiet. is to have that flame. Things may not be easy, but the more one asks of life, the more fearful and painful it becomes. To live simply, uninfluenced, though everything and everyone is trying to influence, without varying moods and demands, is not easy, but without a deep, quiet life, all things are futile. Distance and space is a thing of the mind. Facts become psychological factors with the urge of desire. The mind is a strange phenomenon, so complex and yet so essentially simple. It is made complex by psychological compulsions, which cause conflict and pain, resistance and acquisitions. To be aware of them and let them pass by and not be entangled in them is arduous. Life is as a vast flowing river. The mind holds in its net the things of this river, discarding and holding. There should be no net. The net is of time and space. It is the net that creates here and there, happiness and unhappiness. Pride is a strange thing. Pride in small things and big things, in our possessions, in our achievements, in our virtues. Pride of race, name and family, in capacity, in looks, in knowledge. We feed this pride or we run to humility. The opposite of pride is not humility. It is still pride, but is called humility. Consciousness of being humble is a form of pride. The mind has to be something. It struggles to be this or that, never in a state of nothingness. If nothingness is a new experience, it must have that experience. The very attempt to be still is another acquisition. The mind must go beyond all effort. Our days are so empty, filled with activities of every kind: business, speculation, meditation, sorrow, and joy. In spite of all this, our lives are empty. Strip someone of position, power, or money, and what are they? One had all that show outwardly, but is empty and shallow inwardly. One cannot have both inner and outer riches. The inner fullness far outweighs the outer. One can be robbed of the outer events shattering what has been carefully built up. But inner riches are incorruptible. Nothing can touch them, for they have not been put together by the mind. The desire to fulfill is very strong in people, and they pursue it at any cost. This fulfillment in every way and in any direction sustains people. If fulfillment fails in one direction, they try in another. But is there such a thing as fulfillment? Fulfillment may bring a certain satisfaction, but it soon fades away, and again we are on the hunt. In the understanding of desire, the whole problem of fulfillment ceases. Desire is effort to be, to become, and with an ending to becoming, the struggle to fulfill vanishes.